Okay.
Okay. Lesson 3, Jamestown. All right. So let's read the story of Jamestown. In 1607, a group of English gentlemen sailed to the New World hoping to find riches. They landed in Virginia and named their town Jamestown after King James. The land was a swampy wilderness. The lazy gentlemen did not want to work. Within a few months, about a half of them had died. So Captain John Smith made a wise rule. He who will not work will not eat. They never found gold, but they did find tobacco. They sold it to England by the ton. Jamestown is now famous for being the first permanent English settlement in America. Okay guys, so you're going to write your keyword outline. Again, how many words can you use? 3. How many abbreviations, symbols, and pictures? As many as you want. Okay, all right. The main thing to remember, again, is don't memorize the story. You just want to rewrite the story in your own words, all right? I'm not going to go over the keyword outline with you because, you know what? I think you guys do a very good job as veteran IEW students to write your own keyword outline. Alrighty, and that way too you'll remember it to the best of your ability. Alright, so make sure after you write your keyword outline, you cover the story, you retell it in your own words a few times before you write your paragraph, okay? So make sure you brainstorm some ideas. Include your ly adverbs, and I do want you to put your vocabulary words in, okay? Look at the checklist on page 29 and everything. Again, I'm going to be looking at your checklist, your rough draft, and your final draft when you see me, right? So all of that needs to be done. You don't have to rip it all out of your book. It just needs to be shown to me and that it's completed.
Do we need to print out our rough draft?
If you're typing your rough draft, print it out. If you're just writing it, then just make sure you rip out the paper and show that to me. And if you're going to rip out the paper, make sure you have a folder for IEW or you're stapling it to this book here, okay? Whatever works for you. Note the new vocabulary words for lesson 3. Eschew, presume, flank, and reverently. All right. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, write your own paragraph about Jamestown. Include all the elements on page 29 and include your vocabulary words. Make sure that you have good mechanics such as capitalization, end marks, punctuation, that you're using your spelling, and make sure that your sentences are complete and they make sense. So when you read your story, read it out loud so that your ears can hear it, your mind understands it, and that it sounds good, okay? So Ben, just clear this up. You're going to do everything on your checklist except for you're not going to be writing the paper Slavery Arrives in America paragraph, but you will include your vocabulary words. All right, let's do some brainstorming before we wrap up this lesson. So, number 1, they blank looked for riches instead of preparing for winter. Yeah, or they foolishly looked for riches instead of preparing for winter. Yeah, that's kind of foolish, isn't it? So foolishly, that's an ly adverb. Okay. Number 2, how would they blank? They would not work. Yes, selfishly. What's another one? Lazily, they're lazy, or naturally. Okay, any of those words would work. Right, number 3, Smith blank made a rule. He wisely made a rule. Do you have another one, Miranda? He finally made a rule. Whitley? Okay. Whitley made a rule. He fortunately made a rule. All those would work, okay? All right. So I'm going to give you some examples of how you can use your vocabulary words. We'll just kind of quickly go over these. It looks like we're discussing ideas for vocabulary words here. And we're just using the words from lessons 1 through 3, okay, because you just got your new vocabulary words for this lesson. So, how can you use the vocabulary words from lessons 1 through 3 in a phrase that could be used in your paragraph for Jamestown? John Smith was the pillar of Jamestown. So Miranda, what does pillar mean again? Yeah, about being like stable, like a staple, yep.
A slender, upright arm whose strong supports a cause.
Right. Okay. John Smith was a pillar of Jamestown. Tobacco brought what to Jamestown? If you're selling something that makes a lot of money, it would bring prosperity to Jamestown. So tobacco brought prosperity to Jamestown. Okay. The men presumed they would find riches. Okay, presumed. And John Smith was appalled at the men who would not work. Really, you're not going to work? He was appalled. Okay? So again, the more we talk about the words, the more you'll remember the meaning. All right, you guys, we'll see you next week.